it started off when I was a kid. I started living life, being around my family, and they brought me into a Catholic church, started doing the Catholic lifestyle. And then that slowly backed off the Catholic lifestyle, because by the time I got to be a teenager, my family, my mom, my dad, brothers, sisters, everybody, they weren't going. So I stopped going. And that's when my later teenager years came in, and I was nowhere near Christ. And I was doing some things that normal people don't do. I started getting to gangs, started drinking alcohol, doing drugs, doing girls wrong, getting in a lot of fights. And that was the only thing that I wanted to do. And just got done with high school and working for my dad. My mom and dad had gotten a divorce, and I wasn't worrying about nobody but myself. I loved my family, my friends, but worried about my life, what I was doing, where I was going. So this one day I was working and coming off the ladder, and I'll show you how I was coming down a ladder off a roof. I'm walking to the edge, and then here's the ladder. I went the wrong way. But that's how I did it. I've been doing construction my whole life. So I would reach over and grab like 5 or 6 tile, and then all of a sudden I'd start running down the ladder. And this one time, I started running down the ladder, and my foot slipped. So I took the 5 tile, and then I fell to the left. Well, it was only about 4 feet, and boom, hit the ground, hit my head, grass and dirt. Didn't think none of it. So reached over and grabbed the hose, and rinsed off my head. And a few minutes later, my dad came around the corner. My dad goes, "What are you doing?" I just fell off the ladder and hit my head. "Are you okay?" "Yeah, I'm okay, Dad. I'll get right back to work." Sure enough, hopped up the ladder, got the rest of the tile off. We went home that night. My head was just hurting, but being 21 years old, what's that? Just a headache. Shake it off. It ain't nothing. So Saturday morning came around, and I had to go and help some friends move. And then that night, my phone started ringing off the hook again. And I'm like, I don't know if I want to go out. And then all my friends were like, come on, you didn't go out Friday night. So I'm like, I'll go out. So we went out to this party, and I'm sitting there watching everybody, looking around, and they're having a good time. And I was just sitting there, not really wanting to get involved. My head was still hurting. But then about 11, 12 at night, I seen they were having a good time. And by the way my head was hurting, I was about ready to join them, thinking it'll get my mind to change a little bit if I get into their mood. So sure enough, I started drinking a couple beers, and before you know it, don't remember nothing. Sunday, I came home, went to bed. And then by that time, I don't remember anything else because it was kind of blurry. So my mom walked in and said, Monday, you going to work? I said, nah, I'm not going to work today. I'll go tomorrow. She was okay. She went off to work. 4 or 5 hours. She came home. I was out. Laying in my bed. Couldn't move, couldn't walk, couldn't talk, couldn't reply. Nothing. She called 911. They came and got me, rushed me to the emergency room. They said, your son has an enormous blood clot seeping into his brain. She said, what? He goes, we got to go in there right now. If you would have showed up another hour and a half, he'd be dead. So she said, do what you got to do. So they went in, did a massive brain surgery, opened up 11 inches in my brain, my skull. And from that point, I laid in a coma, couldn't talk, couldn't walk, couldn't move any part of my body. I was dead. Two and a half weeks. 2.5 weeks like that. Doctors came in, said, Jenny, I'm sorry. There's nothing we can do. She looked at him and said, don't you touch it. A couple days later, guess what? Came out of the coma. But I was still a zombie. I couldn't do one single thing. I had to learn how to walk, talk, go to the bathroom, use a fork. Anything you can think of, I had to relearn how to do all over again at the age of 21 years old. Went through rehab, recovery, a couple years. Eventually I came under my mom, said, you know what? I want to go to college. Never done it before in my life. Went to college, went to St. Pete College and took the pretest and took it. I'm like, I'm going to pass this. Yeah. They looked at me and said, your results showed that you're in the 8th grade. I was like, oh my gosh. So I had to take all these beginner classes, and I started talking to family and friends, and they said, man, we prayed for you, bro. We prayed a lot for you. And I was like, okay, thanks, appreciate it. And I had no idea. To be honest, I didn't know the relationship I didn't know the difference between Jesus and God. I didn't know why people call it God and then Jesus, and because doing the Catholic lifestyle thing, I was there for my family. My mom and dad wanted me to go there and go to school because I got kicked out of the public school. So I had no relationship. I didn't know who he was. And then I started listening to people and what they said to me. And it sunk in. So I started to look into it. And I'm like, after all that I've been through, all that I went through, why am I here? Why would you want me to be still alive? So over the years, it came clear to me that I had a purpose and a reason to be here. Over the years now, I've spoken to people that are going through or been through what I went through, but they're nowhere near where I'm at. And I try to share with them what my life experienced. And when people told me that they prayed for me and this and that to Jesus Christ, I had learned more about Jesus Christ. So I did my investigation. And when I did my investigation, I found out more about Jesus and more about God and the difference between God and Jesus and the story behind all that. Well, I started going to churches and started learning from the ministry, and it was crazy because the Baptist church or another church from a Catholic lifestyle is totally different. So I started learning from biblical studies, started reading the Bible, started learning all that, and eventually I started seeing, well, when I went away, when I got out of college, when I went to college and got my degree, I went to Montana. And when I went to Montana, that's what I did at night. I read the Bible to learn more. Because Montana had like 52 saloons where people drink alcohol. And they all went to go drink. Well, I stayed in the lodge and I read the Bible. Well, eventually I came back from there and started a church, a small little church, and started doing ministry for the children. And decided, you know what, just because of that, I had to go back to college again and get another degree in youth ministry, biblical studies. And from there, where I wrote the book, My Miracle, and just God has done enormous things for me when I started to realize who he was and believe who he is. Before, my mind was not set. I was nowhere near it. But I've come to see that he is truly the one. And I hope that everybody understands and finds a way to find a relationship with him, because he's the only relationship that you want. Thank you, guys.